In this video, discover the beauty and history of Fountains Abbey, one of the largest and best preserved monasteries in Europe. Nestled within the serene embrace of a secluded valley in North Yorkshire, Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal stands as a timeless testament to architectural grandeur, natural beauty, and a rich tapestry of history. As a cherished National Trust property and an illustrious World Heritage Site, this sprawling estate beckons explorers to traverse its historic ruins, wander through immaculately designed gardens, and revel in the tranquil beauty of its natural landscapes. Step forth and let the mystical allure of this timeless estate in Yorkshire's picturesque landscapes envelop you, crafting memories of serene beauty and historical wonder to be cherished forevermore. Echoes from the past, the magnificent Fountains Abbey. A legacy of devotion and prosperity. Embark on a journey through the venerable ruins of the Fountains Abbey, where the echoes of devout monks, masterful engineers, and prosperous times linger amidst the ancient stones. From its modest origins, the abbey blossomed into a wealthy and influential entity, its walls weaving tales of fervent faith and bountiful harvests, all waiting to be discovered. Fountains Abbey was founded in 1132, after the exile of 13 monks from Benedictine St. Mary's Abbey in York, who through their desire for reform had enacted a dispute and subsequent riot. The Archbishop of York, Thurston, gave these monks new land on which to found their own monastery in the valley of the riverskel, where there was water access and shelter from the weather. The newly built monastery was admitted to the French Cistercian order within 3 years, becoming the second Cistercian house in northern England after Ripon Abbey. During the 1140s, the River Skell was rerouted 28 meters further south, along stone-revetted and lined channels. A stone drain was also constructed along its old course to flush latrines. A further channel fed water from a weir and sluice to the west of the outer precinct to provide motive power to the corn mill before rejoining the main channel. The river flows beneath the claustral buildings, under bridges, and through channels and tunnels. Water was provided to the abbey through a system of pipes leading from wells. The abbey's vast scale gives an idea just how important the monastic community was in medieval Albion, with its ornate stonework and towering archways a delight to explore. Today, Fountains Abbey is owned by the National Trust and is the largest set of monastic ruins in England, attaining UNESCO World Heritage status in 1986. The magnificent St. Mary's Church is one of the finest examples of high Victorian Gothic Revival architecture in England. It was designed in the 1870s by the flamboyant architect William Burgess. Set within beautiful Studley Royal Deer Park, the church has been called Burgess's ecclesiastical masterpiece. The church was built by the Marquis and Marchioness of Ripon following a tragic family death in 1870. This stunning ancient woodland deer park, with time-worn trees to enchanted forest paths. Boasting all manner of wild creatures, has deer wandering all around you. It's so beautiful, and you can wander for hours. Fountains Abbey is a symphony of seasons and nature. Regardless of the season, Studley Royal Deer Park blossoms with an ever-shifting, yet perpetually enchanting allure. From the vibrant awakenings of spring wildlife and the colorful tapestries of summer wildflowers to the spellbinding floodlit spectacles of autumn and the crisp, frosted beauty of winter, every visit promises a unique and captivating experience. Fountains Hall was built between 1598 and 1611 by Sir Stephen Proctor, using stone from the nearby Fountains Abbey ruins. It has served various purposes over the years, including housing evacuees during World War II, and is now a Grade 1 listed building within the World Heritage Site of Studley Royal Park. Located in front of Fountains Hall is the beautiful orchard and garden area. Scattered throughout the British countryside are the remains of the ancient civilizations that once inhabited our small islands, with evidence suggesting that man has lived on this small collection of islands as far back as 40,000 years ago. It's no surprise that more than a few skeletal remains have survived the ravages of time, while much of the day-to-day evidence of their lives was lost to the elements. What has remained is, well, remains. All over the UK, burial mounds, barrows, and cairns have preserved the remains of our ancient ancestors and provided us with a unique insight into how past civilizations viewed one of the few unifying experiences of humanity: death. These burial mounds often contain the remains of high-status individuals, along with horses, chariots, weapons, and intricate gold artifacts. I believe this is an ancient mound at the far end of Fountains Abbey, with the flowing riverskel around, and possibly in the past a large tower or obelisk stood on top of the mound, maybe the obelisk found near St. Mary's Church. Walking along the River Skell at Fountains Abbey, a holy well can be found, a Victorian fancy or pagan site. Robert James Culverwell, in his The Enjoyment of Life, or Health, Recreation, and Rational Use of Time, 1850 notes, "Yet for a while let gay fancy beguile us with merry visions of the past. On this glade, the curtal friar of Fountains encountered Robin Hood, whom at length he threw into the skell, and afterwards fought to his heart's content. Then whistled out so many of his good band dogs, but Little John let his arrows fly among them, that the friar that had kept Fountaindale 7 long years and more was brought to his sense in a trice. Presently, we shall be seduced to halt at a shady knoll, and while reclining by the crystal well that still bears the outlaw's name, may pleasurably recall the rude romaunt that lingers in each youthful mind. Tradition points to a large bow and arrow, graven in the northeast angle of the Lady Chapel, as a record of this dire affray. They bear no affinity to those symbols used by Masons, but have, I fancy, induced the report mentioned by Ritson, that Robin's bow and arrows were preserved at Fountains Abbey. A lush tapestry of elegance, Studley Royal Water Garden, the birth of English garden grandeur. Waltz through the mesmerizing expanses of the Studley Royal Water Garden, a herald of the enchanting English garden style that beguiled Europe in the 18th century. Follies, statues, and classical elegance. Immerse yourself in a world where elegant ponds and cascading waters intertwine with rustic bridges, where classical temples and statues stand guard over tranquility, and where every pathway promises to enrapture with its meticulously crafted beauty. The Temple of Piety was built around 1737 and was originally known as the Temple of Hercules. It overlooks the Moon Pond, below the Octagon Tower. The history of Studley Royal Water Gardens starts with the Aislabie family in 1718, when the father began work on the gardens around his manor house. He slowly and continuously bought up land around his house until he finally got Fountains Abbey. He manipulated the riverskel into a canal that created a still mirror effect for the gardens, which flowed into a large man-made lake, which is the grand entrance to the gardens. Vast open spaces and small dark curves were placed to entice the guest to want to know more and see more. Follies were placed throughout to give excitement and amusement, and were even built on different levels throughout the garden. The family would host their guests and show off their wealth by taking walks through the garden and ending with refreshments in the banqueting house. The height of the garden and all its splendor was 1781. Moon pools consist of two crescent-shaped ponds hugging either side of a full moon-shaped pond and overlooking the canal, from which feeds into the ponds and perfect manicured lawns. Amidst these alluring sights, the grand ruins of Fountains Abbey emerge as the ultimate eye-catcher, bridging natural splendor with historical majesty. The walk to get to the surprise view is beautiful. This is a semi-steep climb to get to the top level of the gardens, known as the High Ride. Along this path, you'll hug the side of the hill that's covered with trees, only to see breaks in the tree line with follies. Reaching the end of the path, you'll see a hut with a door. If you open the door and walk through, you are greeted with a beautiful panoramic view of the gardens, the curve of the river, and the abbey in the distance. The higher level path brings you to the Temple of Fame, built in 1770 for Williamaislabie. The columns appear to be made of stone, but are actually wood and plaster. As a result of this unusual construction, it has required frequent renovations. The Octagon Tower was constructed in the mid-1730s. It was originally intended to have a spiral staircase inside, but this was never built. By 1976, it was a virtual ruin until it was restored by the local council. The Serpentine Tunnel was built in 1730 for John Aislabie, probably by Robert Doe. It was designed to give guests a gentle fright on their way up to the Octagon Tower and High Ride. Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal, with its enchanting blend of historical intrigue, architectural magnificence, and natural splendor, promises a day where the present moment gracefully intertwines with the echoes of the past. Step forth and let the mystical allure of this timeless estate in Yorkshire's picturesque landscapes envelop you, crafting memories of serene beauty and historical wonder to be cherished forevermore.